Hi everybody, how you doing? Listen, I got a confession. 2 weeks ago, I went fishing. Yeah, that's right. No, I didn't take you with me. Sorry. Well, it was an impromptu thing. It was just one of those moments. It was calling. We had a very warm second week of April here in Southern Ontario, and I mean very warm to the point it was one day actually reached 28 degrees Celsius. And I thought to myself, I've got to go. Gotta go. Also, I had been to Cabela's and I bought myself a new fishing rod. So I had to go and try it out. And it got christened. Yes, it did. I got this nice bluegill. That was the only one, mind you, after being out there for 2 hours. But it was so nice just to sit in the warm sun and, get that vitamin D intake and catch a fish at the same time. But, since then, we haven't had the weather to go fishing. Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, it's supposed to start improving a bit. We can get you out there and we can actually do some fishing. But first of all, I did promise you that I would do the setup video. I've been doing these little how-to videos, how to put your fishing rod together, what is the best line for a beginner. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a bottom rig and set up a float rig. And then all you'll have to do is just add water and you'll be ready to go fishing in another week or two. All right? So let's get the equipment here and I'm going to show you. Okay, so for those of you who've watched my how-to videos before, know that I like to use an ice fishing rod for demonstration purposes. It's just much easier to keep in the shot so that you can see what's going on. Now, I'm not going to show you how to mount the reel in this video because I've already done that in the previous video. So if you haven't seen that, I suggest that you take a look at that first, all right? So we've mounted the reel. We now are going to load the fishing rod blank with your fishing line. And it's very, very important for you beginners out there to understand that you must thread the line through each and every single one of the line guides that are on the blank. You cannot miss any. Sometimes people miss some at the top or whatever. I've actually even seen people miss the biggest one, which is down on the bottom here. If you miss something, it doesn't work properly, okay? You have to undo everything and start again. Now, the other very important thing about your fishing line when you go to load your rod is to make sure that your fishing line, you can just see it here, okay? Right there, where my finger is, there's like a knuckle or a line guide. Your fishing line must come up underneath it. The bail should be closed, all right? So this is the bail here. You see that it's flat down. That is a closed bail. When it's pulled up like this, that's an open bail. You want it flat down and you want to thread the line underneath that knuckle. All right, so you can see that. All right. Otherwise, it won't work. So you're going to take the end of the line, keeping a little bit of tension on your line. We seem to have pulled up a bit more than we should have here, but it's okay. Okay, there's the end. We're now going to thread it through each of the line guides. Just make sure you get it through every single one. All right, just like that. Just like you're threading a needle. It is a bit difficult to do when you're going blind like me. All right, so there we go. We've got our fishing line now loaded on our fishing rod. All right, so you see that? Every line guide. Notice where the line is on the reel. It's under that knuckle. It must be under that knuckle. Otherwise, you will not be able to retrieve your line. When you open the bail up, when you flip that back, that's when the line is free for you to cast. Okay? So now I'm going to show you how to rig up for a basic bottom rig. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do a very simple bottom rig, and it's exactly what it implies. It's a setup that sits on the riverbed or the lake bottom. Just a hook and weight and some bait waiting for fish who are feeding on the bottom to come and, nibble on the old worm there. So it's a very simple setup. You just need two things. You need obviously a fishing weight and you need a hook. I'd also recommend that you get yourself a pair of small scissors. Now these ones here are actually fly fishing scissors, so they're a little bit more expensive than the average pair of scissors. You don't need these. You can go to your dollar store and pick up a small pair of sewing scissors. They're pretty good for cutting line. So get yourself a pair of those. You'll need them for when you're setting up your hooks. Another thing you might want to get your hands on is maybe a small multi-tool. One with the plier head on. All right, this one has a plier head. This also has a small blade in it. It has a couple of screwdriver heads. It has a pair of scissors. Really handy thing to have when you're fishing, especially when the screws in your reel decide to come loose. All right, okay, so let's just put those over there and get them out the way. Now we're going to set up and just do a quick setup here for the bottom rig, and then I'll show you how to do a quick setup for the float rig. Just let me get this out of the way. All right, get you straightened up there. Can you see? Good. All right. So the weight. One of the best weights to get your hands on are these butterfly back split shots. They look like little ball bearings. What's really good about these is that you don't have to cut and tie your line every time you want to change out the weight. You simply press on these little butterfly wings and the jaws open up. You put the line in between the jaws, crimp it shut, and you've got your weight set up. If you want to take it off or add more, they're a great weight to use because they can come off so easily without having to constantly cut and tie the line. This is a number 5 split shot. You can get them bigger and you can get them smaller. You don't need more than a number 7. If you want to put more weight on, you can add 2 to your line. It all depends how fast you want your line to sink. But really, you don't need not much more than that. The hook here is an offset octopus hook. Just get yourself a set of plain old J hooks. The shank on a J hook is a lot longer than the shank on this one. This is a very short shank. The longest shank just makes it easier to tie the knots until you get used to tying a fishing knot. Now I'm going to show you a very basic fishing knot. Don't use the old overhand granny knots because they don't work very well. All right, so this is called a clench knot. I'm just going to thread the line through the eye of your fishing hook, just like a darning needle. All right, and then we're going to just double the line back like this. Okay, and we're going to make about 6 turns of the hook so that the lines intertwine. All right, then we're going to take this tag end and we're going to insert it through this loop right here. So we end up with this kind of effect. Now at this point, you're going to moisten your line. You're either going to do it with saliva or you can do it by dipping it into water, whatever. I strongly recommend that you moisten the line. And the reason for that is that when you cinch it, pull it tight, clench it down, there's friction. And where there's friction, there's heat. And that can actually damage your fishing line. So that's something you want to keep in mind. You just want to moisten it before you start clenching it down. So you're going to take both ends of the line and you're just going to pull it tight like that. Okay, and that's after you've moistened it. And then we just pull on the main line to set those loops, those coils in there. Okay. Then we take our scissors. This is where you need fishing scissors or scissors of some sort. You're going to cut this tag off. I like to leave a little bit of a tag on sticking out. The fish won't mind it. You can probably just see that there. The reason I do that is that it allows the knot to continually lock down in those loops. If that little tag end slips between those coils there of that knot will come undone. So that's why I don't like cutting it too close to the coils of the knot. All right, so that is, you can see how it sits nicely. That is a clench knot, or as they say in the UK, a blood knot. It's also called the fishing knot. It is probably used just by about every person who likes to fish to attach their line to their hook. Now we want to add some weight so that we take it down to the bottom. So this is a split shot. You're going to paint the line and just put it in between the jaws of the weight, like that. All right, this is where you get your pliers from. Don't put these in your mouths. These are made of lead. You can get steel split shots. All right. If you're concerned about the lead, you don't want to use lead. Let's just give that another little tweak because I don't want that line coming out. All right, there we go. Yeah, don't put them in your mouth. Oops. Don't put them in your mouth, okay, because they are lead. All right, so we've now got our weight and we've got our hook. Okay, so that's your bottom. That's a basic bottom rig. You're just going to add some bait onto there, you know, whether it be a piece of corn and or a pinched piece of pinched night crawler or whatever you want to use. You stick it on, you throw it out, and you let it sit on the bottom just like that, and see what comes along and nibbles at it. Now, if you want to change this to a float rig, very, very simple. All you do is get yourself a float. Pick yourself up a package of these things. You've seen these before. These are the old red and white floats. You can pick up a package of maybe 8 of them, different assorted sizes, for about $2. I'm trying to keep you guys under $60 to get yourselves kitted out. All you do to put them on is you push down, you see a little hook come out there, and you put it on your line. Some people just leave the one. I don't recommend it because it might come off. And then set up the other one at the top there, so you have like an inline effect on with the float. Okay, so there's your leader with your weight. There's your float, and there you go. There's your basic float. Take the float off, you've got a bottom rig, and that's all you need to go fishing. Put some bait on the end of it, go find yourself a body of water, cast it out, and wait. Simple as that. Okay? Very simple. Now you can go fishing. Me too. I'm going to go fishing too. Probably next week. All right? So that is a very quick way. That's how you set up your fishing rod and your line, a bottom rig and a float rig. Very simple. All right? So go get them, Tiger. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Tight lines.